Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, members of the jury, here we go. It's Friday night, the Friday before Cheltenham, and everything is starting to come together, except for the handicaps, of course, and that's what we're going to get stuck into tonight on In The Know, brought to you by the Racing Post and Coral. My name is Ross Brierley. Hopefully you've joined us for the other Cheltenham preview shows, and you are rubbing your hands together with glee at the prospect of us getting stuck in to handicap hurdles, handicap chasers, and maybe a few other opinions flying about as well, because we're almost there. The previewing is done pretty much. The guessing about what half the horses are going to do is sort of coming to an end as well, and the moaning is done as well, I guess. The moaning about how the Cheltenham Festival used to be better years ago, but of course that goes for pretty much everything. So let's get stuck in and enjoy it. As I was saying to someone off air earlier on, even the worst Cheltenham Festival is better than no Cheltenham Festival. So there we go. A bit like pizza, really. You never have a bad pizza. So even the worst pizza is better than not having a pizza.
Actually, I'd completely disagree. Pizza's the most overrated food in the entire world. Absolute garbage. Cheese on toast for a tenner, rubbish.
Mr. Paul Kealy, everybody. Paul Kealy there. Nice to see you, Paul.
Hello, mate. How are you?
I'm all right. I was going to take you out for a pizza next week, but
no,
you can sod it, quite frankly.
Ridiculous stuff.
It's amazing. What are you talking about?
That's rubbish, mate. Absolute rubbish. I can give you tuppence for it.
Okay. Well, that wasn't the argument I was expecting us to have on tonight's show, but here we are. We're almost there. It's starting to come together. I feel like I could do with being put into like sort of a deep sleep for the next 2 or 3 days, so I don't develop any more opinions.
I could have done with it a fortnight ago, to be honest. Like, you know what I mean? It's too long, isn't it? The build-up is way, way, way too long. But we're nearly there.
We are nearly there. But like I said, and finally, Tom Segal joining us from the comfort of his own home. Finally, we don't have to go, oh, what race is Ballyburn going to run in? If only it had happened 2 weeks ago. But the correct decision, I think, has been made.
Well, I don't know. Might be, might not be. I don't know. Usually, look, it'll win either. Probably won't. He said probably don't make much difference. But yeah, looking forward to it. I try and keep a rather low profile I try and stick out of it for a couple of days, Ross. I've tried to keep completely out of Cheltenham handicaps for the last few days, because I think you get so confused, and you're better off just waiting until the deck's now and seeing what's happening. But we'll give it a crack. We'll definitely give it a crack tonight. You'll confuse me again, no doubt, by throwing in loads of other horses that I hadn't considered, but we'll try.
Yeah, loads of horses you hadn't considered, and half of them won't even get declared anyway. So there's that to look forward to. And of course, you know, on the day, you know, someone will go mad and offer 20 places or something like that, and we'll still manage to back a horse each way, finish 21st. But anyway, the handicaps we're getting stuck into. We'll also have a couple at Sandown tomorrow as well, the EPF and the Imperial Cup. Nice bit of a warm up for next week's action. But Simon, Clare, how are you feeling? Are you on the cusp of excitement? Are you about to go over the top of that bell curve? How are you feeling?
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I haven't got Cheltenham out. And funny, if you talk about no Cheltenham at all, well, some of us are old enough to remember when we went through 2 weeks of Cheltenham previews and preparing for the 2001 Cheltenham Festival, only for it not to take place. And I think I did a like 2.5 hour Cheltenham preview with a very young Mick Fitzgerald and young AP McCoy, chaired by Luke Harvey, in Legends nightclub in Barking, where the Coral office was based. And we went through every single one of the races. It was only 3 days then, thank God. And we never found out whether we were right or wrong. How gutting's that? So yes, thank God Cheltenham is actually going to happen next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just a guess, Si, but I reckon you were completely wrong. Even though...
There you go.
It was actually my best ever Cheltenham.
Yeah, it's your best ever.
Yeah. How did you do at Cheltenham? Broke even? You? Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's
Fantastic. Right. Okay. Well, I mean, I think we, you know, for us as a panel next week, there's going to be plenty of foot in mouth, I think, throughout the week. But we'll see how that goes. What have we got on the chat? Hello to Stevens99, to Tom Leach, to Dale Grimble, to Trevor Clark, Brad Furness. What else have we got? We're already pizza. Let's just clear up this panel pizza thing. Keels is against it. I'm very much for it. Tom, pizza, yay or nay?
I'm in the middle. I would never choose pizza, but I don't mind it.
All right, okay. Simon, you've got the deciding vote.
Yeah, listen, I do like pizza. I do. I'd order Domino's in, go to Pizza Express for a sit-in pizza before you even go a little bit higher brow. So yeah, I like pizza.
There we go. Good. We've decided it. Right. It's pizza. Pizza gets the nod. Right. Yeah. Just anything else before we get into the handicaps that have started to. You've done 17 previews this week, Gills.
Yeah, I've done a few. Yeah, there seems to be plenty of confidence behind Mr. Giff in the Supreme. Daryl Jacobs said that was the one he was most looking forward to ride. So that was the big one, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that kind of.
Yeah, I mean, Gaelic Warrior is almost certainly going for the Arkle, but I think that's been sort of said that he's hit the front of the market now.
Okay. Anything else from you, Tom? Any thought bubbles just come to the top over the past 5 days?
No.
Good. Right. Well, let's get on to the confusing Tom Segal approach of tonight's show then. What's that? Sorry, producer just shouted in my ear. What's that? Go to Tom first. Okay, lovely stuff. We'll do. Very well. Thanks ever so much. We'll go to Tom first for the ULTIMA. 3 miles and a furlong here. And in a week where Willie Mullins might well win 80% of the races, it's no surprise to see him have the favourite even for this race. However, this is pretty much a banker for British trainers over the years. Meeting in the Waters is 4-1. The Goffer 6-1. Chianti Classico is 8-1. Stumptown 10s. Theatre Man 10s. Trelawney 10s. Am I right? 12s. Giovinco 12s. Loads and loads of horses in here, obviously, who have got multiple entries as well and would have a cracking chance if turning up. In the back of my mind, the Irish, come over here and take quite a lot of our staying handicap chasers, Tom, but not this one. Traditionally, we do tend to fend off the Raiders here, which makes this market potentially interesting, given who's favourite and second favourite.
Yeah, maybe, but I as you well know, I'm not a trends guy, so I look at the horses and those two at the top of the market you can make very solid cases for. I'm not sure either of them represent any sort of value. I mean, 4-1, Meeting of the Waters. Never been to Cheltenham, fell last time. He's not my type of bet at all. I see JP's bought him, so I presume Mark Walsh will ride him. So, look, pays your money, takes a chance, then he's not for me. The Goffer, Keels and I did a thing with Baby Russell the other day. He was very keen on him, said that, he got to the front too soon last year and they'll run really well and he's had a perfect prep and all this sort of stuff. And just slightly, he's a little bit weak. He came there travelling really well last year and just sort of beaten a long way in the end for me. So be a little bit disappointed if he won. I think there's a few in there that can beat him. I'm a big Chianti Classico fan in this, though. I have been for a few weeks now. I just think he's going to run really well. I was just so impressed with him at Chepstow on his debut. I just thought he jumped like a horse that was going to be a lot better than he was a hurdler, and he was a pretty good hurdler. And then he went and won again next time. And then when the stable were out of form, he ran really well at Kempton behind Phlegmatic. You know what a good horse Phlegmatic is round there. He was backed off the boards. He was 2-1 favourite, and he sort of just didn't like the track. I think it was all happening a bit quick for him. Came right around the outside, but he stuck to his pass really well. This would have been the plan. And I love novices in these handicap chases, Ross. So it's at the moment, and it can all change with a couple of days to go and weather forecasts and final fields. At the moment, I'm quite sweet on Chianti Classico in this.
Yeah, I'm going to pick on what you said there, Tom. Yeah, because my kind of theory with British novice chasers is they kind of actually, not necessarily the best ones, but the ones just slightly below tend to come for races like the ULTIMA. I mean, it wasn't last year, was it? But it was the year before when Korak Rambler first won it. Beat Jericho Rock, Oscar Elite, T-Clipper and Our Power. The first 5 home were all British trained novices. I think this is the race that they kind of target. So you've got your Chianti Classicos, you've got your Giovincos, Theatre Man, Trelawney, Apple Away. We've all been caught. There's a lot of those British novices who back in the day might have finished second or third in a Brown Advisory, Tom, but they come for this instead.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're spot on there. I think that's part and parcel of the Irish having so many good horses. I mean, I don't think many of them will run, actually, the ones you mentioned. I think Theatre Man will go somewhere else. I think Trelawney might go somewhere else too, although they are talking about getting him in here, but I think he might end up in the MUIR. Giovinco, I think I was hearing rumours that that's going for the Turners now, so that might be out. And Apple Away, don't think will be quick enough to win this. So some of them might not run, but I agree with the premise. I think that look, we don't know how good they are. That's the point about novices, isn't it? They're rated on stuff they haven't achieved yet, but they are likely to achieve more. That's why they've got more. That's why they win so much, because we know the handicap knows everything there is to know about the golfer, and dumped down to a lesser extent, and all those ones. So, yeah, I'm with the novices. I'm with Chianti Classico. I am scared of Meeting of the Waters with all the sort of noise coming out, but he did fall last time. It wasn't really his fault. And he's up £17 for winning the Paddy Power, but it's Willie Mullins, and he's probably got 2 stone in hand.
Okay. Meeting of the Waters, again, I mean, all JP horses have been sort of priced up at half
that's it, isn't it? That's it, isn't it? I mean, he'll probably drift, won't he? Like, it's a short enough price this far out, isn't it? There's going to be 24 runners on the day. You know what I mean? It's not like if the race is going to cut up. You'll definitely get a bigger price on the day. At least somebody's going to go 5s at least. I would have thought overnight.
What's on your list?
Not him. I mean, it's a bit of an anomaly, isn't it? The Irish not winning this for so long. Like, they've actually got
36
since
2006.
Yeah, they've actually got more than half the runners in the weights at the moment, and probably will have more than half the field overall. So it's going to change at some point. I said that last year. I backed 2 Irish horses last year. One of them was the Goffer. He's obviously got a very good chance again, isn't he? I mean, I do like him. He normally goes to something near the head of the market as well, this race, doesn't it? Like, you know what I mean? It's quite a good race for punters, despite the size of the field.
Well, I think because you are going to get 10 or 12 horses in here who are sort of completely fully exposed and have Cheltenham form in these, but are 9, 10 years old and have done their running, and they just run into younger legs. So you're right, you can probably cut the field in half on the day.
Exactly, that's right, yeah. And then, I sort of had when Tom was talking about Chianti Classico, and I know he's like that for ages, but then the light bulb just went in my head just now, and I thought, well, Trelawney should be about the same price as Chianti Classico, shouldn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got some serious novice form all over a trip that he doesn't want. I mean, he won in a bog over 2 miles, 7.5 furlong, beating Lord Snoot. He was a very strong stayer in a Class 2 handicap hurdle last year. He hasn't run over 3 mile yet. Over fences, he's been running. He's been beaten less than 2 lengths by the favourite for the plate.
If Crabelli's a 7-2 shot for the plate,
well,
how is Trelawney a 10-1 shot for this?
And he's been beaten less than 4 lengths by Ginny's Destiny of levels, and he's almost favourite for the Turners, and all at his wrong trip. So, I literally just thought of that sitting here.
Yeah, well, that's the
I was
point.
literally going to say that I'm now on the Goffer. I did back City Chief earlier a couple of weeks ago before Nicky Ennis's form fell off a cliff. You just got to watch all the Hendersons and see what happens.
Yeah.
The fact that he's only got 1 runner on a Saturday before Cheltenham does make you worried, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does a bit.
Just the thing about Trelawney, Ross, he's just a bit nutty, isn't he? He ran off the track with Weatherby. And that's why I think, well, he's the same price as Chianti Classico, realistically, isn't he? I think Hills is right. The market has corrected itself.
It reminds me a bit of Kim Bailey. What was the horse? I think it might have been in the. Was it in the plate? What was the one? And it went to win at Aintree. What was the horse called now? Handicap Chaser. Happy Go Lucky. Yeah, was beaten in this a couple of seasons ago. They both. I mean, they're both similar-ish.
Vindication
types, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. Was another one that nearly won this.
Yeah, and obviously, first flow as well. That really good chaser who got better and better with experience. So yeah, they're both really interesting. Simon, again, Ultima, what's on the list for you?
Yeah, if I have the short list, I had Giovinco, but may go for the turn as I learning today. Even though a few days ago Thomas Kudamore was quite keen on it for this race. Obviously, they've won the race the last 2 years with Correct Rambler. Trelawney, Chianti Classico, nothing original. So looking at those novices who might have a bit in hand. Ginny's Destiny and Grey Dawning are now officially rated 155 and 153, I think, based on their form. And obviously Trelawney's carrying 144 or something here, but could run in the Kim Muir. Shake Him Up Harry's a horse. I'm quite interested for this or the plate. Ben Pauling's obviously got to decide which way to go. Very impressive on New Year's Day at Cheltenham after finishing 6th, I think, in the Coral Gold Cup. And the Coral Gold Cup has thrown up the winner 5 times in the last 9 years. Runners from our big race in Newbury have gone on to win this race. So, but he could run in either this or the plate. But it is non-run, no bet. So if you do fancy Trelawn for this and the Kim Muir, or indeed Shake 'em Up Harry for this or the plate, you could back him for both and you get your money back on the horse that doesn't run. So don't worry too much about that. It just means you have to lay out a bit of stake and get it back in a few days.
Okay, that's the ULTIMA then. The other handicap on day one of Cheltenham next week, of course, is the BOODLES. But we'll get to that in a second because I'm being told there's a price boost, Simon.
Well, this is you've got to get your heads round tomorrow now. Sandown, we've got 2 price boosts till 7 p.m. this evening. This is a combo of either Hastings, I think is how you say it, or Fireflyer to win the novice handicap hurdle at Sandown at 150. 2 to 1. It works out about 6 to 4 if you back them both individually. So you get a bit of value there if you Dutch them up. And then Bad or Gypcot in the Imperial Cup, 11 to 4. Either of those to win. Again, it works out about just over 2 to 1 if you were to back them individually. So just a couple of fun price boosts there for the Sandown card tomorrow.
Okay, very well. Right. The BOODLES then, the juvenile handicap hurdle. There is a juvenile handicap hurdle at Sandown tomorrow, of course, as well. But the BOODLES has Lark in the morning at top of the betting at 5 to 1. Batman Jurek 6 to 1. Wudu 7 to 1. Melantino 8. Nadawi 8 to 1. Liari, a British horse in there somewhere amongst French and Irish raiders. And then we're back. Miss Mansour, Eagle Fang, Ose Partir, Cossack Jack, Miss Mansour is very interesting. Nara, Royal Way, Palamon, Barrier. I think the Irish might win this one based on the entries, Keels, because they've got 99.9% of the field. Again, I know Tom's not a trends man. I'm not really a trends man. I just like to dig into them. It is a little bit interesting.
Well, I mean,
and the same race, that Nace 4-year-old novice hurdle has thrown up 4 of the last 5 winners, and that's the race won by Eagle Fang. So that's the most interesting thing, just to see if that run can continue.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, the one thing you say is that you read out the one British trained horse that was on there, Liari. Well, the only trainer to have won this more times than Paul Nicholls is Gordon Elliott. Paul Nicholls has won it 3 times. So, and they decided to come here. Apart from the, instead of going to the Triumph, Harry Cobden said he's been, he was quite keen on him last night. He's definitely interesting. The 2 that interest me, one of them's actually running tomorrow at Sandown through the ages. I don't know whether they think he might need a penalty or it was not in the plans at all. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I just thought he was very interesting. A big price given a pedigree as he's a half brother to Yabir and Wild Illusion and several other top flat horses. May have been a bit of a slow burner, but I like the way he jumped in his last 2 starts. I mean, Mickey Mouse races, obviously that's why he's only got a mark of 119. But I mean, if he lived up to his pedigree, he'd be nearly 119 on the flat. And therefore, if he's a slow burn and improving now, he could be quite interesting. And the pick of Gordon Elliott's, I thought, was Nadawi. Quite liked his win last time. I like the fact that he got, I think, was it a month that he got? Yeah, it was within a month he'd got himself handicapped as well. He ran it. He ran off a mark of 93 at Ascot. Oh, sorry, he was rated 93 at Ascot when running in a listed race last year. And quick bit of handicapping. Don't think he's that badly treated. Quite like the way he won last time. So they would be my 2 against the field at the moment.
Okay, Nadawi was out of another race that I thought the most interesting race for me. Tom, was that Miss Mansour race with Nadawi in there as well. I thought those 2 both had a squeak. I would say, by the way, Paul Nicholls last won it in 2016, and he's only had 2 horses placed since. So he has kind of been swamped by the Irish domination, admittedly. But yeah, interesting little race. Anything on the shortlist for you, Tom? Not really. Well, I'm going to say this, but I know you're probably going to disagree with me because that's normally what happens when I say something like this. Not your normal type of race to get stuck into at this point of.
No, I mean, funnily enough, it's one of the races I've done all right in over the years, but I've never done all right looking at it way in advance, 4 days in advance. I think it's a very good race to look at on the day. I mean, I remember Arthur Moore having a mare that won it that was like number 50 on the day before. No one thought she could get in, and she ended up winning, backed off the boards and winning. I like looking at the day. I would have a good look at that Nace race. I do think all of those runners are likely to get in. Nara's especially interesting for Henry de Bromhead. Puccini for Gordon Elliott, and the second horse, which I can't remember, Dennis Hogan trains it. I thought they were all quite interesting in the race, but it didn't look an outstanding one to me. It didn't look like there was a Gaelic Warrior in there, even though he got beat. So I wouldn't rule out one of the ones at the top, a Liari or a Nadawi, winning it. Lark in the Morning just looks plenty short enough. He could be a very good horse, couldn't he? But Batman Girac is going to have to settle, isn't he? Because he's very keen. And the one thing that you don't win these races, any races at Cheltenham, is if you're too keen. So he might maybe a really all-out 2 miles when they go really fast might suit him. But I'd be worried about him until, you might be one to run it back in running rather than beforehand. But at the moment, I'm looking at that Nace race. So Puccini, Nara, and Dennis Hogan's horse, which I can't remember. It's down the bottom, Beyond something. But I thought those 3 were really interesting.
Bright Legend.
Bright Legend.
Yeah. It's the Dennis Hogan horse. Simon.
Yeah, I think it's a race. It's worth having a little look at some big prices. There's been an 80-1 winner. Was it Jeff Kidder a couple of years ago? 3 33-1 winners in the last 10 years. Only 1 favourite. Only 3 single-figure price winners. So, you'd be loath to take anything too short ahead of the betting. Saying that, I thought Milantino, I followed him closely in the 2 runs in the graded hurdles at Cheltenham behind Burnett Road and Sergino. Ran really nice races, actually, and just wants softer ground. And we haven't talked about the ground yet, but it is forecast, it is favourite to start on soft ground on Tuesday, and he'll definitely benefit from that. And the horse I always like to search around, try and find something a little bit off the radar. Cossack Church for Joseph O'Brien, who won the race a few years ago. Watched it back. He beat Woodoo, the Gordon Elliott horse, who's obviously run up a sequence, giving him £3, beat it a neck 2 runs ago. Then ran the Grade 2 on Boxing Day at Leopardstown with all the decent 3-year-olds from Ireland. Cargis, Conti won that day. Nürburgring. And actually led them into the straight. And, ran a really nice race, eye-catching race, hit the last, finished 6th. Hasn't run since, and so I'll be keeping an eye on him in the market. I think he might be worth a quid each way.
Okay. Right, on to Wednesday then at the Coral Cup. And we'll have a look at the market there. 2 miles and 5 furlongs the distance, and again another multiple entered JP horse in the shape of Sama Jest at 6-1. Doddy the Great 8-1. Caida Bourbon is 8-1. Built by Ballymore 10s, Langadan 10s, Lucky Place 10s, Gigorode 14s, My Eye 14s, and loads of other horses in here who'd have a squeak. Ballyadam, Brazil obviously has course form if he turns up in this race. Springwell Bay is a course and distance winner as well. And again, loads of horses have been multiple entered in the variety of handicap hurdles. But I'm going to come to you again, Keels, for this, because when I was going through the race yesterday, there was a horse here that looked the most Coral Cup of all Coral Cup horses, and then he was the one that you mentioned to me when we came in, and that is Martin Brazil's Built by Ballymore. Yeah,
I feel fairly certain he's going to go off favourite whether Sam Majest runs or not, to be honest. I think we're going to get a lot of momentum behind him. Sam Majest is also a shorter price for the Martin Pipe, so we don't know where he goes. Doddy the Great's got 0 chance of getting in, surely. He needs another 12 to come out by Wednesday. Can't really see that happening. Built by Ballymore's obviously already in there. He's just been very impressive the way he's won. He's going to relish soft ground. He was going to charge up the hill. He represents Martin Brassil, who's been trying to win this race for the previous sponsors of the Ballymore. For the last couple of years, they're Fast or Slow just got chinned. An Epic Song just got chinned last year. And he just looks like a very strong stayer on soft ground who's going to be better than his mark. So I like him quite a lot. 139 is, I think that's a very nice mark for him.
Yeah.
What
I liked about him last time, because I kind of had to remind myself that this was the horse I watched. But at Punchestown, we sent off 11-4 and kind of looked a bit in trouble at one point, and then came home into the home straight and just absolutely dotted it.
I thought it looked a couple of times. Yeah, he did look, and then he just took off, didn't he?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You like a horse who responds, don't you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
he got asked.
He's going to come up the hill for sure.
He got asked. I mean, and when you look at the ones around him, I mean, I'm certain that Langadan's a red herring this year. He's been in such bad form, miles worse than when he was at least making some sort of eye-catching moves in races in the run-up to this last year, but he's just done nothing at all this year. We don't know whether Lucky Place is going to run. That's Nicky Henderson as well. So, you know, I can see him being 5-1. Like, you know what I mean? I really can. But I do think Ballyadam's got an each-way chance. That was the other one I liked. I mean, he's been to 3 festivals. He's been second in the Supreme, albeit beating Miles, but I appreciate it. But he's also been 5th in a couple of county hurdles. Staying on once further. He was in the Stayers. He's just been taken out of that. He didn't get home in the Christmas hurdle at Leopardstown last time. He comes here fresh for the first time as well. So, yeah, I thought he was reasonably handicapped and he might be at the right trip for once.
Okay, yeah, Ballyadam, again, it's not it can be a race that goes to a classy horse who's experienced in these kind of races. What stood out in the Coral Cup, Tom?
What's the nap? There is no nap.
Oh, no, I said what stood out.
Oh.
I was expecting if you napped in the Coral Cup.
What's the nap? Well, Dottie the Great won't get in. He was my original fancy. I don't know about Sam Majest, type of horse that I will never get a handle on. I let them win. I totally agree with everything Kealy said about Built by Ballet, which is quite interesting that he's such a strong stayer because both his brothers aren't. Dancing on My Own and another passing Brazzles are basically fast 2-milers. So the fact that he stays so well or stayed so well is a big feather in his cap. I did like Lucky Place until we did our Racing Post preview the other night, and Nicky Henderson said he wasn't running in here. He would probably go for the Gallagher now. Oh, that's so confused. Yeah. Not only do you know what's running, you don't know what the name of these races are.
Fair, yeah.
So, but whether he moves back in now that Ballyburn has been confirmed in that race is, I would suggest, probably more likely. So I'm with Keels on Built by Ballymore. If the rain doesn't come and it stays decent, I would give Lucky Place a chance too.
Okay. Lucky Place is currently a 10-1 shot. The Coral Cup, Simon. Obviously, you're going to have offers and bits and pieces up your sleeve on the day. Any opinions in advance?
Yeah, I imagine we'll be paying 7 places or something come the day. I do have a few bits. I mean, and I'm not moaning, but it'll be the lowest quality in terms of the top weight Coral Cup for a long time. In the last 10 years, all the top weights have been 151 or higher, generally around sort of 154 to 158 mark, and Ballyadam's 147. So it is a slightly sort of lower, sort of lower rating for the top weight perspective.
So just for a second, I haven't looked into this, but every single handicap I looked at next week, I thought, oh, this looks a bit like not quite as good as it normally is. Is that the case across the board? Because it feels like it.
There's no good hurdlers, are there?
Yeah, well, yeah.
I think you're right. And of course, it's all relative because I mean that's not to say that obviously there may be just more compressed handicaps with so it's not the overall quality of the handicap might still be okay. Certainly the Boodles is a lot lower rated. Horses getting in at the bottom off a lower mark, but look, this is a great race. I mean, there's so many entries. You're always going to have a full field. I thought First Street. I presume he's going to come here, but I mean, he's really well handicapped. He ran third to Lossiemouth last time. He's been running over 2 miles in Grade 1 company behind Constitution Hill. Ran a novice chase. Last time he ran over this sort of trip was in the Relkill last year on January the 1st, when third to Marie's Rock and Dashel Drasher. And he was second to State Man off this kind of mark a couple of years ago. Looks like the triple suit. Nicky Henderson's record in the race is great. If he runs here, I know he's got other entries, but I thought he'd be very interesting at 20-1. I was going to look for a decent price. I like Ballyadam. And Dan Skelton, obviously, we had on a preview last Sunday at Newbury, and he was quite enthusiastic about Langadan's, how Langadan is rounding into form now it's springtime. So I think they are anticipating a good run, but there's no value in the price, as Paul says, because he's been running pretty abjectly. You're backing him on his previous records in the festival.
Yeah, I mean, to be specific, Simon, I said to him, do you know which race he's running in? And he said, yes, this one. And I said, how will he go? And he said, he'll win.
Yes, he did, didn't he? That's right.
I was like, okay, fair enough, move on.
I forgot
He just said, yeah, he'll win.
I forgot you were there too, Ross. I'm giving information and you were actually there. I better get this right. But yeah,
no, I just remember, that really stuck in it because it was. I was like, oh, okay, then never mind. Let's not talk about the race. Like that's sorted.
Yeah, but First Street. Has anyone? I mean, do people think First Street? I mean, First Street's interesting, isn't it? I mean, that runs second to State Man in the county a couple of years ago, and he's been running.
I think there's a bit of a debate amongst the stable. I think half of them want to go for this, and half of them want to go for the county. Yeah. Sorry, half of them want to go for the Coral Cup, the best handicap of all handicaps. and some of them want to go for the county hurdle. So
we'll
it's sort of up in the air at the
Well,
moment.
they'll hope for higher ground, for drier ground for him, won't they? He won't want it soft if it's soft on Wednesday.
You won't want it soft if it's you won't run if it's soft ground and 2 miles 5.
Okay, got a couple thoughts then. Anyone? First street for a couple for Mike Boy and Tom Leach, and someone just said, I'm a Doddy the Great, whichever race he gets in, says Dunners. The Grand Annual, then. To be fair, this actually looks a fairly decent renewal in terms of the ones at the top of the weights, but I think that's partly because there's a lot of 2 miles probably avoiding the El Fabiolos of this world as well. But San Noir is 6-1 favourite here for the Grand Annual. My Mate Mozzie 7-1, Harper's Brook 10s, Liberty Hunter 10s, Madara 10s, Safure is 10-1, Mascada 12-1 to follow up last year's win, Path Doru 12-1. Again, loads of other horses in here that would have a squeak if turning up. Again, Dan Skelton got a couple in here which could be interesting. Unexpected Party and Calico will probably go for this. Unexpected Party off a mark of 138 finally in a strongly run 2 mile handicap chase could be interesting. But Tom, loads of interesting horses in here. Couple of things to say to you. First off, connections to My Mate Mozzie will be mad to go for the Grand Annual. Still not confirmed, but he's been quite well supported. But the favourite here, San Noir, I mean, he's just the most. Sorry?
My Mate Mozzie's going for the Arkle, isn't he?
Is he? Definitely.
Well, that's what he said. You said yesterday.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. I'm just checking. Just winding you up. San Noir, however, is absolutely going for this, and I think they might have had this in mind all season, Tom.
I can't have him at all. They can do what they like with him, but he can't jump. Now, I don't know. He's not clearly very well handicapped. He's clearly got loads. He's clearly incredibly talented. He's got Cheltenham form, but if you saw him jump last time, I can't have him. Let him win. Let horses like that win, Ross.
Yeah.
You think you're really clever when you win, but when they bury themselves into the third fence, you wonder what you were doing. So I'm not interested in him at all. The 3 I'm interested in are Harper's Brook. 4, Liberty Hunter, who Keels will tell you all about. Madara, who I still think is underestimated. And I'm also quite interested in last year's winner, Mascada, who I thought won doing handsprings last year. She's 8 or 9 pounds higher, but they were miles clear, weren't they, her and Dino Blue? So if you take Dino Blue out of the race, she won by 9-10 lengths. I thought she'd run really well. The one I'm warming to Madara a bit because I just was so impressed with him at the Dublin Racing Festival, and I'd love him to win for Sophie Leach. But Keels is going to tell you that Liberty Hunter's passed the post. So over to my learned friend.
Okay, Liberty Hunter then, yeah. Evan Williams and Harry Cobden on a hat trick.
Yeah, I'm a massive fan. Part of the reason is because I think Matata's a pretty good horse who's going to run well in the Arkle. I don't think he'll win it, but I think he's going to run well. And I thought Liberty Hunter beat him pretty easily in that novice handicap chase. Now, he was getting a fair bit of weight, but he charged up the early. He was very strong at the end. And he's been literally put back for this ever since. And they've booked Harry Cobden as well. I just think it's all the eggs are in the right basket. They really are. I just love the way he went through that race at Cheltenham. So you got a course winner. He's only had 3 chase starts in his life. He's very unexposed. He's going to have at least £10 ahead of his mark, I think, and it doesn't mean there won't be others. Tom does make the point about Mascada, for instance, because she did win it very easily and is £8 higher now. But the winner is the runner-up is like £19 higher now or something like. You know what I mean? Dino Blue. She's so it could definitely come back and do it again. It wouldn't. I don't know whether it's ever been done before actually.
What, doubling up in this?
Doubling up in this, yeah. Has it ever been done, Tom?
Rings a bell, but I can't. No, maybe not.
Yeah, but it's
no repeat winners since 1959.
There was one 1959, Keels.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, thanks a lot, mate. Yeah, well done, good man.
Who was that? Who would it?
I have to like Madara as well. I think Path Daru's got a chance as well. He was obviously well beaten by Madara last time, but there's a turnaround there. But it is all about Liberty Hunter for me.
1959 was a 10-year-old top 20, trained by Clem Magnier and ridden by Fred Winter. So that was the last repeat winner of the Grand Annual. Just have a quick shout out for Unexpected Party, by the way, because this race does often go to a horse, who has a few quirks.
A nut job.
Yeah, that's what I was going for.
An absolute wacko.
Yeah, and I think he is up there with that kind of. He's a sky pirate. I feel he runs over 2.5 every single time. People go, I'm not sure about this horse's resolution. Sky Pirate dropped back to 2 miles and went, this is what I've wanted for years. What are you doing? This horse hasn't run over 2 miles. Or run twice over 2 miles in Grade 1 events at Sandown in the past 2 seasons. So I think that is a really low mark for Unexpected Party, and he runs the track pretty well. So I thought he was a little bit interesting for the Skeleton too. Simon, Grand Annual.
Yeah, look, and I think a bit, in your favour, the fact that Harry Skelton's jocked up to ride Unexpected Party and Christian Durrell's on Calico, and Calico's got a really solid form chance, on his form this season, particularly the first time out, and last time, I think Doncaster didn't suit him so well, but he'll run well here again. And Harry's gone for Unexpected Party, well handicapped. I think he could run well. Madara, like the guy said, I was at Leopardstown, and for Sophie Leach to go over into the Irish's backyard and win a handicap there with this 5-year-old was impressive. Obviously, got to carry a lot more weight, but can go well. So I mean, look, it's a competitive race. I'll be cheering on Triple Trade for Joe Tizard. He'll definitely run here, but probably just now is pretty high enough in the weights. Has he got any edge with a handicapper? I wouldn't have thought so. I mean, I thought the 2 Dan Skeletons. I like Calico a lot, and as you said, Unexpected Party. If Harry's decides to ride him, that's blue in itself.
Okay, let's see the Grand Annual then. Rattling on, because we've got loads of races to go through, and we're only up to the PERTEMPS at this rate. 3 miles the distance for the PERTEMPS handicap hurdle final, of course. Well, we all watch back the qualifiers and go, that ran on well. That wasn't put in the race. That ran on well. And then you realise you've got half the field on the list. And then we also remember how bad I am at Gaelic pronunciation. And I turned to Paul Kealy. Goth Queel?
I'll tell you, how would I know?
I don't know. I mean, you're about
David Jennings.
You're about as likely to know as I am.
I wouldn't have the faintest idea.
Okay, well, it's...
You're Irish.
Was
you
it?
keep telling us you've got an Irish passport.
I actually haven't got it yet. I'm getting it, but I haven't got it yet.
Right, okay. What,
When you do get it, start your pronunciation.
Yeah, we'll do, yeah.
Wasn't this... Actually,
I'm going to go and live in Spain, though, Tom. I don't need to know the Irish.
What was it? Well, yeah. This was the horse that David Jennings was pronounced before Dublin, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Wasn't it Grey Clouds or something like that?
Yeah, it was. He was corrected by somebody on the chat.
He was, yeah. So I'm waiting for the chat to come in, but they haven't. Anyway, Chantry House is 8-1. 8-1. Cletus Poulor is 8-1. Cuthbert Dibble 10-1. Ikari Alan is 10s. Gabby's Cross 10s. White Rhino 14s. Given that Gordon Elliott normally wins this race with a well handicapped hurdler, Tom, I thought, I'll have a look what he's running. And he's only got 2 in here. One of them is Cletus Poulor, but the other one I thought was quite interesting is Farouk Delaine, who would have finished second in the Brown Advisor a couple of seasons ago and dropped back to hurdles last time out, ran a cracker.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I really, really like Farouk. One of the few bets I had was a long time ago was Farouk Delaine to win this. I'm sort of warming back towards him, actually. I think he'll have a £7 claimer on, maybe Carl Miller or someone like that. Top weights have a very good record in this race. There's going to be not much between them. And if the rain comes, I think he'll be absolutely in his element. I thought he ran a cracker behind David Jennings' Grey Clouds or whatever it's called in the at Leopardstown at Christmas. Got obviously entered. Got eligibility for the race on the back of that. It's not been seen since. I thought he'd run really well, but there's loads you can make cases for. I think this is one of the races that ground is most interesting for, because there's so many that I don't think would especially like it, and there's some that would love it if it got really soft. So, for example, I'm quite like Highland at a big price, and I quite like Monmiral at huge prices on back form, but I'm not sure they'd like it if it got really soft. Whereas my old friend Cuthbert, Dibble and Grubb would love it if it went soft. So at the moment, I'm sort of sticking out and hoping it gets soft for me at previous bet on Farouk Dalen because I think that might count slightly against Icarelen, which everyone tells me is very well handicapped, and wasn't that impressed. I don't understand why Chantry House is anywhere near the top of the market. The other two I'd throw in. If it was good ground, I'd give Springwell Bay a definite chance. I was impressed with him at Musselburgh. I thought he was unlucky not to win. The winner went in again. Doncaster and White Rhino for their dynamic duo with Guerriero and Green. Will sound like a wrestling combination. I quite like White Rhino. I think he's obviously got course form. He's been kept back for this race. So on good ground, White Rhino, Springwell Bay. On soft ground, Farouk Delen and Cuthbert, Dibble and Grubb.
Okay, yeah, I love that. Who knew you were a wrestling fan? Was it Eddie Guerrero? I think was the wrestler, wasn't he, from years ago? Again, thanks to Galt Stats, to Brian Galt, who I just look at his page and he's got every possible stat I could ever need. 7 of the last Irish 8-train winners ran in the Leopardstown qualifier, and as far as I can see, that is Gothqueel. Apologies again. Farouk Delen and Foxy Jacks.
Yep.
So there you go.
There you go.
Box them up.
There you go.
Anything on your list for this?
In October, not last year, the year before,
Right.
we did a Cheltenham.
Tell me a story.
We did a Cheltenham. We did a national hunt season preview.
Yep.
Right, and I tipped a horse for the Gold Cup, and it was Farouk Dalen. And I got a text from someone saying it's dead, right? And I was on a panel with Lydia Hislop on Wednesday night, and I was mentioning it, and she turned around and said, "Somebody told me that was dead." It definitely wasn't me, but it clearly isn't. And if you go back to that, he's clearly full of bursting with health.
Yeah.
He'd have gone very close against Longpress the way he was travelling.
Yeah.
I mean, with Longpress was a very good horse and won it very well going away. But David Russell hadn't moved a muscle on him, so don't worry about a mark of 154. If he's back, he's a high class horse, and I've sort of come round to him. I put up to you already White Rhino and Lord Snooty. Now Lord Snooty's number 33, needs 9 to come out at the 5-day stage. That doesn't generally happen at Cheltenham, so I'm assuming that he won't get in. I like White Rhino, 2 very good runs at Cheltenham early in the season. A nice, well-beaten third to not go up the handicap mark at Huntingdon qualifier. So I do like him. I think he's going to run very, very well. But like you two, I'm getting quite positive about Farouk Dalen.
Yeah. Let's get the rain dance going, shall we, on Wednesday night?
Absolutely.
That'll
It normally happens these days, doesn't it?
Well, it does, yeah, Wednesday night. It's always Wednesday night. It absolutely chucks it down. But yeah, he could be. Commander of Fleet comes to mind. Who it lashed it down. He was a similar type. Simon, the PERTEMPS Network final handicap hurdle.
Yep, like Springwell Bay for John Joe O'Neill, who's got a good record of these sort of races, beating the net, giving loads away at Musselburgh Hill, like Cheltenham more. And Dan Skelnor, I think Dan Skelnor's going to have a good week. Lamilos won the Coral Gold Cup off 146 a couple of years ago. Somehow managed to get in to this PERTEMPS off 142 after running over an inadequate trip last time, being dropped £4. And I know Dan and Harry are quite keen on his chance in this, so I'm going to have a few quid each way on Lamilos.
Okay, lovely stuff. By the way, the chat informs me it's pronounced Guayquil. So let's go with that.
How does that work? Do they spell it out in how you should pronounce it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Bit of phonetic pronunciation. So,
Phonetic.
honestly, the people on the
Why don't you just spell it that way then?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Anyone at home who's Irish, this Englishman is telling you what to do.
Half Irish.
Half Irish, right?
Plastic Paddy, as my Irish friends call me.
Okay. I don't think it's how much Guinness you've drunk. It depends on how Irish you are, Keels. But anyway, right, we're gonna have to rattle a few of these few because we've still got to look at Sandown tomorrow. The plate, Krabilly 7-2, Theatre Man 6. Let's be clear about it. 10-1, Call Survivor 12s, in Excelsius Dio 12s. Blah blah blah, so on and so forth. Bigger prices. The rest. Speaking of Irish, Johnny Dedeen thinks Krabilly has got a stone in hand.
Yeah, might not be the only one though. I think Theatre Man's got plenty in hand as well. You always get handicap horses in these races, don't you? That's why they win them. Theatre Man comes from the novice handicap chase that won by Ginny's Destiny, and that race has thrown up loads of winners of races at Cheltenham over the years. Obviously, we don't have the novice handicap chase anymore, but it's also produced winners of the ULTIMA. A few years ago, the first and second both won Cheltenham Festival races in March, and I just thought the way he charged after Ginny's Destiny. I mean, he's a bit of a flat spot horse, so he's been booked. Harry Cobden's been booked for this as well. He's going to have to keep him up to his work, but I think if he's within hailing distance, jumping the last, he'll charge up the line and win.
Okay. I'll be doing what I always do, Tom, and back in Frero Bamboo to place.
Is he going to run in this race? Thought he might run in the Grand Annual myself, but if he runs in this,
whichever one he runs in, I'll be backing him to place.
I thought, listen, I'll only be interested in the novices. I think this is one of the weaker races. Krabilly and Theatre Man stand out. Let's be clear about it. It's quite interesting, but got a bit of weight. The other one was Saint Felicien, but I think it's the English will win this. I think it's been between the two at the top market. I'm like Keels, I'm on Theatre Man, but not surprised if Johnny Deneen's right.
Okay, fair enough. Simon Clare, quickly, any opinions on the plate?
Yeah, listen, I think Krabilly's got a great chance, but he's short enough. I think Il Ridotto, I can see him running very well with Freddie Gingell booked on board with a £5 claim. Probably find a couple too good, but he's a decent price of 16-1 and loves the track.
Okay, there we go. Right, so, let's move on then, because we've got enough on our plates. The Kim Muir is what we're going to look at next. 3 miles and 2 furlongs for amateur jockeys. Again, loads of multiple entries here. I know the way you're thinking is 4-1 Call Survivor, 13-2. Last year's winner, Angel's Dawn, 91, coming back for another go. This is my least favourite race of the entire week, Tom. I never back the winner. I always have a cursory bet just before the race because it's Cheltenham and I'll have a couple of quid each day there, and I immediately regret it. So over to you.
See, I quite like it.
I thought you might. I thought you might, mate. I
tell you why. It's because no one else does.
Yeah, fair.
So therefore, people haven't smashed the prices to smithereens before you get a chance to look at it. And all the ones you fancy are, apart from unless you like, I know the way you're thinking, which I think is a bad price. But I get what their company, I get why they are that price because he's totally unexposed at the trip and JP and Cromwell. So I get that. But I thought there was some I thought Bow to Greatness when he was 33 to 1, 25 to 1 was a great bet in this. I acted accordingly. So I have a few quid on him. I'm now worried that Kim Bailey is going to put one of his novice weapons in here, which would make it a little bit more tricky. Trelawn or is Chianti Casco still in here? But I think Chianti Casco is definitely going to run in the Ultimate. So, and I was very, I was very impressed with the way Where It All Began finished in the one of the sort of nationals in Ireland recently, where Willie Mullins had a horse that was started like 5-4 for a handicap chase, and was supposed to be all the rage. But Where It All Began literally left him for dead up the home straight and won by about 14 lengths in the end. I just want, a very strong stayer. He reminds me of that other nutty Gordon Elliott horse that was like a furlong behind and still won on the bridle a few years ago. I wonder if, this is all about stamina. It's all about finishing. They go way too hard always. So my two are Bow to Greatness and Where It All Began at the moment, but it could all change when we see the composition of the field.
Cause of Causes, is that the horse you're thinking of?
No, I'm thinking of the one that... Oh, no, it might have been the wrong race. Jack Kennedy rode it. What was the race that horse
won? Mount Ida, yeah, of course. Yeah, because it was.
Ida.
Yeah, it was this race because it was the year where amateurs couldn't ride, was it? So, yeah, of course.
Right.
That makes sense. Speaking of that form you were talking about, I don't like the race, but I had to have a look at it. I thought Fakir Delen was a little bit interesting. Speaking of good Gordon Elliott horses, was fourth in this a few years ago off 144, back down to 143. That third to Cocoa Beach back in November. This horse would have a cracking chance.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. There we are. You see, you're beginning to like it, Ross. Yeah. You're coming round to my way of thinking.
Oh, I know, but it'll get hampered at the second, and I'll regret every word I've said. Keels, what do you make of it?
I was quite interested in Git Maker for Jamie Snowden. He's definitely better horse than he showed last time. He looked really good first time this season, didn't he? So if the ground is soft, I definitely think he's a player. Cool Survivor was the other one. I just think he's shaped quite well without showing his absolute best, and may do so on the day, but not, and Bow to Greatness as well. I could definitely see that, but I don't have a massive opinion on this race.
No, fair enough. Plenty of massive opinions, though, in this. The Cheltenham Betting Guide, brought to you by the Racing Post.
That was brilliant, wasn't it? You see what he did there? That's why he gets paid the big bucks.
Listen, if anyone from QVC is watching, I've got a bit of space in the schedule, so give us a shout. I'll sell mops and rings and hair care, you name it. I was watching Dragons. It's available on the Racing Post shop, not on QVC. So get involved in there, and you'll get a free tub of body butter. No, wait, that's QVC. Simon, what did you make of the Kim Muir?
Listen, I think Bow to Greatness, third in the Coral Trophy after a good run at Cheltenham, won fifth behind Ginny's Destiny. I think Ben Pauling's had a great season. I think he might have a good week with a couple of his runners. And Rapper, they booked Will Biddick for this Henry Daly horse. He ran an absolute blinder at Ascot last time, staying on well. It is actually his fourth Cheltenham, and he hasn't come anywhere close to winning. He's run the PERTEMPS, the Kim Muir, and the ULTIMA in previous years. But I think with Will Biddick on board in this race, well handicapped, and he will stay all day. So Rapper, worth a few quid each way.
Okay, lovely. Right, let's get on to Friday then, shall we? Where we have the County Hurdle and the Martin Pipe, which has been a good race for us over the years. But let's start off with the County. King of Kingsfield is 5-1. Iberico Lord is 7s, but you'd think we'll go for the Champion Hurdle, or it's a waste of cash. Load of Sud is 8-1. Under Control 8-1. Absurd 10-1. Lump Sum, Listener Fortune, Key to Bourbon, and plenty of others as well. Tom Segal, the County Hurdle. Quite a few of these won't turn up in this race, I would have thought, on your screen there, which means it's worth probably digging into those a bit further down.
Yeah, almost certainly is. I mean, I'm a Load of Sud fan, but he's number 40 at the moment or something. But I think he'll end up getting in. So I think he'll run really well. I think King of Kingsfield's plenty short enough, around 5-1, isn't it, for a horse that keeps coming? They call him the second coming, but he keeps coming second. See what I did there? So he just doesn't win enough for me. He's a very good horse. Should be suited by the style of the race. Plenty of others you could fancy. I'm in the Lord de Sud, whatever it's called, Load de Sud camp at the moment. I just love the Skeltons in this race. I think he's a very good horse. He has to be. I think I'm all over the Betfair Hurdle form. On the figures, on the everything, on the sectionals, on the way it ran out, on everything. And I thought the two really, really good horses came clear. So if I fancy Iberico Lord to run well in the Champion Hurdle, which I do, I've got to give Load of Sud a good chance in this race.
Oh, the thing is, you've said that, Tom, haven't you? And now I know I'm going to go and look at Go Dante, Favre, and Knickerbocker Glory tomorrow, because I was thinking that Imperial Cup tomorrow is going to be between those, and you'll have ruined at least one of those prices.
No, I haven't ruined one of those prices. I couldn't choose between them, so I went for something else.
Oh, fair enough.
And I thought, I like Go Dante, but I thought he was too short. He was my original fancy for the race tomorrow, but I thought around 5-1, he was like 28. I wasn't for the bet there, and I thought that was plenty short enough. So, but there's loads. Look, if it got really good ground, you'd have to give Absurd a chance, wouldn't you? Because he's an E-ball winner, running off a low mark, reasonable mark in this race, cantered through the Melbourne Cup, for God's sake. And you're asking, and he jumped really well. I was staggered how well he jumped in the Grade 1 behind Ballyburn. He looked like he was going to finish second. He came from miles back. He looked like he was going to finish second turning home until he got a bit tired on the soft ground. If he came up really good, I think he'd win. But I don't know if it is. So at the moment, it's Load de Sud for me.
Mullins or Skelton have won 8 of the last 9 county hurdles.
That's ridiculous, isn't it? Yeah.
There's a couple of the Mullins horses I thought were really interesting. One is I thought Zenta ran a cracker last time.
Yeah, it did. It was really eye-catching, wasn't it?
Yeah, and there's a Cheltenham horse. Yeah. And the other one is, same race, Bialystok was creeping.
Oh, Bialystok, I spoke to Joe Chambers the other night. He said the jockey was adamant he would have won.
Yeah. He looked like he was going to win.
Yeah, I mean, a Lisnacar Fortune is another interesting horse. That might end up in the Martin Pipe, but the seconds of reading Tommy wrong looks a lot better than it did then, and he's bolted up since in what's the company. But I think when I was tipping up Under Control, Tom, last week or the week before, and you said Mullins will run a Grade 1 horse in it. I mean, the Grade 1 horse is Absurd, isn't it? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, he is a Grade 1 horse, and if it comes up quick, he's got a mark of 138 when he's something like 110 on the flat. So you could easily see, if it's dry, you could easily see that money pouring on him, couldn't you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's quite why I quite like Zenta, because Zenta's a Grade 1 horse, and you've had, State Man, San Noir, Superb Story, Unexposed 5-year-olds have won this recently.
Yep, I can see that. I mean, I'm hoping that by now, and Nicky Henderson has had a really good first 3 days, and the horses have run well, and you can not worry about the form. And then I will smash Under Control, because I do think she's very, very well handicapped.
Okay.
And it's it might turn out a bonus that she hasn't picked up the penalty for winning at Kelso last week, because she didn't run because she got upset on her travels.
Yeah.
So a bit of luck, and those back in form, and that'll win. But obviously, I'm not touching it at the moment.
No, fair enough. We'll get a rattle on, because I'll miss my train and I'll be upset on my travels as well. Simon, very quickly, County Hurdle.
Yeah, listen, you mentioned it all. Absurd, backed each way at the Dublin Race Festival, managed to finish 4th rather than 3rd. Looks the one who could be steamed into from the Willie Mullins horses. And Lotus Sud, Dan Skelton definitely seems very keen on him. And obviously he's won it a few times in the last few years. So those would be the two for my shortlist at the moment.
Okay, let's go out with the Martin Pipe Conditional Jockeys Handicap Hurdle then, where we spot the future Grade 1 horse, potentially. Kealy Bourbon is 4-1 with Sam Jest. Been a lot of money and a lot of talk about Kealy Bourbon over the past week or so. 8-1 No Ordinary Joe. Doddy the Great is 10s. Listnaker Fortune is 10-1. But the best handicapped horse in the race is Waterford Whispers, I think, at 10-1. This is my one handicap horse of the week. That Fairy House time was very, very good. Should have won at Leopardstown. Has got half a stone in hand, even if you just take that run into account without considering the fact that this horse might improve. Gets up the hill, Henry de Bromhead. Oh, yeah, it's that's my winner, Tom.
Better hope it gets in, Ross.
Yeah, obviously. But I mean, to be fair, it's number 50, but 48 of them have got other entries.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. You've got to remember that this is the day we haven't got the 60 entries for yet. No,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's going to move way up there. And obviously, half of these are in the Coral Cup or the County Hurdle. Like, you know what I mean? So it'll look a hell of a lot different. Well, it'll look a hell of a lot different tomorrow, and it'll look massively different on Friday. So there's probably every chance he will get in.
I'm not sure. I'm looking.
Kealy Bourbon is the worst price of any Mullins horse, isn't he? I mean, he can't jump.
Well, they've just smashed. It's only the past few days they've smashed this horse.
Yeah. I reckon it's gone round the preview nights, and everyone's gossiped, and it's got smashed in. And the ones that do that, they never win, do they?
No, they don't. No, they win a race in 12 months' time.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
They're tearing up the gallops, but they're not good enough for this.
I mean, if you saw the way he jumped last time, I mean, how do you think getting that right in a big field handicap with 10, 11 hurdles to jump? No thanks. But yeah, I do like Waterford Whistles as well. I hope he gets in. Obviously, No Ordinary Joe was a big eye catcher at Kempton, to say the least, and was second in the race last year.
Okay. Tom, anything stand out?
Oh, well, my 4 or 5 Cheltenham previews was Waterford Whispers as well, so I'm hoping he gets in.
Wait. Me and Tom Segal just agreed. We agreed on a.
It's worrying, isn't it?
In a handicap. So,
when you said it, I went. I mean, I quickly got on Betfair and halved my bet.
Fair. Absolutely fair. I'd say I'd give you some of the cash back if it doesn't get in myself, Tom, but I'll never meet you. What else is on the list?
I like Waterford Whispers. I also thought Stuart Crawford's horse Brucio, who won at the Leopardstown Festival, she got brought down at the first or early on at Kelso the other day. I just like her. I just like her a lot. I think she's improving fast, and she's a horse I've got on my radar for a big race. She's further down, I think, in the thing, but I like her as a horse, so I'll be keeping an eye on her throughout the thing. But it was, I like Keels. I don't get the Kealy Bourbon. I think Ruby's been saying it's their best handicapped horse they're taking to Cheltenham, but I like Waterford Whispers a lot. Okay,
Simon Clare, last Cheltenham handicap of the week.
Yeah, Corlan's already form really strong. JJ O'Reilly won it. The ground wasn't right. Race wasn't run to ask last time. If the ground is on the soft side still on Friday, I think that's what Dan is quite keen to have. I think he could run a big race. He's 40-1. Got Tristan Durrell on board, very good jockey, and Freddie Gingell rides Sonigino for Paul Nicholls, who I think is better than his handicap mark. But again, it's a a bit of a flyer in a race where it's not easy to pinpoint the winner.
Okay, right. Very quickly, let's tip the winner of the EBF and the winner of the Imperial Cup. Get the naps from everything we talked about tonight, and then we can all go home and go to bed and dream of Cheltenham. But the EBF, Hastings is a 3-1 favourite here. And again, last 10 years, I have an unbeatable system in this race. It's a 3-pronged system, and there are only 3 horses who match it. Champagne Twist, Pick Rock, and Saladin Sun. Combination forecast. Now, just Dutch them all, Kealy. So there you go. What do you like?
There you go. Right. Well, Champagne Twist was one of them that I put up in the weekend. Well, the only one I put up in the weekend. I also came round to the runner-up to him at Doncaster, Tara's Halls, who was fairly tenderly handled, and I think won quite well.
Okay. Tom, what's on the list?
Ben Paul and Groupie. So I at 2, and on Champagne Twist. I also think Dartmoor Pirate is going to relish stepping up in crit for another of my sort of favourite trainers around, Anthony Honeyball. I think he'll run really well too.
Okay, there we go. Simon?
Yeah, I seem to be the Dan Skelton groupie tonight because Astala Pastala horse for me, putting it up as a horse to follow for the whole season. And we were down there filming last week and he pinpointed this horse for this race and thought it would run really well.
Okay, well, we started off with pizza, we're ending with pasta. Let's go on to the Imperial Cup then, where Bad is 9-2, making headway 5, Gypcot 6-1, 13-2 Bar. You said you liked the Betfair hurdle form, Tom, and then put something else up because you couldn't decide between them.
Well, I just listen. I like making headway a lot in this. I just thought Sandown, when the ground is soft and sticky, is a very, very different place to Newbury, and I was just slightly worried that they'd all sort of. I wasn't sure Knickerbocker Glory was going to run back to that level again. He seems to be best fresh. Favois, I wondered if he'll even run, because I think they want to go for the county hurdle, and if they see that he's got a chance of getting in the county hurdle, they might even take him out of this. Go Dante has become a bigger price than he was when I did it, and I'm very fearful of him. I think he'll like the ground, but I like making headway. Just thought he jumped brilliantly at Newbury. He's got plenty of more progression in him. He'll stay really well. He's trained by the wrestler, and what more can you want? Making headway for me.
Okay, trained by the wrestler, love it. Right, the Imperial Cup. What's top of your metric skills?
Yeah, I've back 2. One of them is making headway. No point of adding to that. So the other one was Sombuit for Paul Nicholls. Just thought, considering the amount of horses that he probably could have run in an Imperial Cup, this was the only entry, the only time, the 2 times in the last 6 years or so that he's run one horse in the race. They both won. He was way too free at Doncaster, over 2 mile, 3 and a bit furlongs. And this is his second run. If that freshness has gone out of him, obviously I had a preview night with Harry Cobden last night, and he was asked about it, and he says, we are going to have to bury him because he can be keen. And hope they go fast, but looking at the makeup of the race, they probably are.
Yeah, it's not a bad angle for the Imperial Cup normally, is it?
No, exactly. So they quite often do come from behind, and yeah. So I think 2 mile on soft ground. I mean, he has won over way further than 2 mile, but I mean, if he races keenly like that, he won't be doing it in Britain like he did in France. But I mean, he's potentially very well handicapped. Like I said, just very interested in the fact that Paul Nicholls won runner.
Okay. I'm going to have a saver on Spirit Danu then, aren't I? Seeing as I thought he was a cracking bet for the Betfair hurdle and ran an absolute stinker, but he's back at Sandown.
Well, I did too, funnily enough, yeah.
But he's back here, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's back here, yeah.
And he's a Sandown
I did
horse. Well, no, you were very right, Tom.
Aren't you clever, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, he was absolutely bang on.
The only thing I got right all jump.
Yeah, it never there wasn't even a millisecond I thought I had a chance. Simon.
I would go Dante for me. Ran a big race in the Betfair on heavy ground. This will be really stiff stamina test up that hill on that ground at Sandown tomorrow. Obviously cheering on Sean Bowen in his attempt to try and claw back that lead from Harry Cobden, which is not proving easy, but hopefully he can ride a big race winner tomorrow.
Okay, right. That's it for tonight's show. So let's get the best bets. I guess you could throw Sandown or anything we've talked about from the handicaps into this. Again, my producer just shouted 12 words in my ear and I have no idea what he said. Okay, all right, here's an advert first. go. He said,
You think to get a job at the Racing Post and be a producer, you'd have to be able to speak coherent English, wouldn't you?
he said members club advert first, but I thought he said have a kebab, have burst. So I was very confused. Okay. That's why I stopped in my tracks. Right, best bets of what we talked about tonight. Paul Kealy.
Libby Hunter, Harry Cobden's going to charge him up the hill to win the Grand Annual on Wednesday.
Okay, Tom Segal.
Well, I'll leave. See what I'm gentleman I am. I'll leave Waterford Whispers for you, Ross, because you need a winner. So I'll go for Chianti Classico.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate it. Waterford Whispers then in the Martin Pipe, or Ben Pauling to win the EBF. That's the one for me. Simon.
Shake him up, Harry, for me, in whether it runs in the Ultima or the Plate. I'm not sure, but wherever he goes, I'll be having a few quid on him.
Great. Right, we will see you every night next week, 6:30 till 7:30, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, to get stuck into the next day's racing. But most importantly of all, it's Mother's Day on Sunday. Send your mum a card. That's a reminder to me, because I'll forget, so I can watch this back.
I never send cards to anybody. Biggest waste of money, don't it? Just say happy
Oh,
Mother's Day.
Right.
no pizza, no cards. What's going on?
I know. Right. I'm sending Keels' mum a Mother's Day card. I guess it's on me. Right. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you Monday night.